So, I wasn't planning on doing another live commentary video. I've been recording a whole bunch off stream. Like I said in my Bittersweet Addiction video, I was gonna start like recording my offline matches and then talking over them to see if like anything interesting comes up. But I was chilling out on Reddit, which is a horrible place to be. Don't recommend. And I got into, I wouldn't even say an argument. It was actually a pretty civil discussion, which I know is incredibly rare, with somebody about whether or not Trapper should spawn with all of his traps. Now, you guys know me. I am not the biggest fan of Trapper being absolute doo-doo dog shit. He is an absolutely terrible killer, one of the worst killers in the game. And there are still people out there for some reason who believe with all of their hearts that if Trapper spawned with all of his traps, he would be overpowered. Or at least he would be too strong, is the way this person put it. And thankfully, we have a way to test this. The Trapper Sack add-on, which allows Trapper to spawn with literally all of his traps. And the reason, the reason I'm so adamant about Trapper being able to spawn with all of his traps not being that big of a deal is because of this add-on, because this add-on exists, right? This literally allows us to test if Trapper spawning with all of his traps would be a bad idea. So in order to prove a point, I decided that I was going to load into a match with the Trapper Sack, so allowing me to spawn with all my traps, and the Bloody Coil, which is regularly discussed as one of Trapper's best add-ons. We're on a map that's normally considered one of Trapper's best maps because of all the tall grass, with quad slowdown. And see exactly how strong this is, right? Because quad slowdown's like pretty much oh look, they just fucking disarmed one of my traps. Okay. Quad slowdown's pretty much like the Mac Daddy of unfair builds, right? So that's what we're doing. We've got Corrupt to quote unquote slow down the survivors, even though I don't think Corrupt is really that big of a deal, but that's another video for another day. So we just got one person caught in a trap. Let's go. We got one person caught in a trap, baby. All right. Big muscles. Okay. So, took us a while. We ended up placing 6 traps. We got 1 hook with quad slowdown. A gen is, not all the gens have been finished. We got 2 people caught in a trap. Okay. All right. Let's go. All right. Hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, right? Maybe I'm sitting here like all arrogant on this experiment. Like, oh, Trapper actually is like super powerful with all of his traps. And, I'm just a big stupid doo-doo head. It's possible. It's 110% possible. I'm not gonna pretend like it's not, but I want you guys to pay attention to something here, right? So we're getting these hooks, right? We're getting these second hooks in, and we're getting this slowdown and everything. But now what, right? Now what, right? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of my traps that I spent all that time setting up in the beginning. Now they're all reset. And I still had to use Corrupt Intervention, right? I still had to use Corrupt Intervention. I'm still having to run 4 slowdowns. And it's very important to remember that if I have to run quad slowdown to make this kind of thing work, then that just further proves how weak something is, right? Quad slowdown is often realized as the most powerful build for killers because it patches all the weaknesses of every other killer, right? So now I have to waste the time coming back to these traps. And in a perfect world, right? In a perfect world, not only would Trapper spawn with all of his traps, but he would also have trap refresh, which if you don't know is the ability to place a trap and it replaces the older trap that the oldest trap that you placed, right? So I'm still in this time sink where I still have to spend time going to reset these traps, and or in the world where you could pick them up, I still have to go back and pick up these traps, right? So it's a very difficult position to be in, right? It's very, very hard to be in this position where I have to stop and go do other things. What is she doing? I have to stop and go do other things in order to make sure my power's working. Otherwise, I just simply don't have a fucking power. And that feels bad, right? that feels really, really bad. I fucking just body blocked myself in. That's so funny. That feels really bad. And a lot of times I think, people just don't fully grasp how, like, bad that is. I'm even running Bloody Coils, which injures people who disarm the traps, so that I can try to create, injures people who disarm the traps, so I can create, like, a danger to disarming traps. I also don't know if I've used her pain resonance or not. I know I've used an Auda's pain. I think I've used hers. Yes, I have. Anyway, you know, so we're even adding this extra layer of danger, but this is just kind of a proof of concept about how this isn't as strong as people think it is. Which obviously it looks like I'm disproving myself here, which, you know, again, maybe that's how you're going to see it. But again, this requires me to run quad slowdown, requires me to put in a massive time sink. I'm running an iridescent add-on to combined with this. And in a perfect world, right, you'd be able to run 2 iridescent add-ons to combined with this or whatever. The Aurelia gave up on Hook. Every fucking time I want to do some stupid goddamn DBD experiment, the survivors just playing, like, I would recruit people. Like, I would, like, put out a thing in my community, like, hey guys, anybody want to help me test this, you know, whether or not Trapper would be OP with all of his traps? But then people would accuse me of skewing the results because it's my community or whatever. Look, they're like, they've already disarmed this trap several times, right? So this is just, like I said, if you want to see this as, oh, well, look, you are beating the survivors, you are winning, I get it, but I think that there's a lot of just fundamental pieces of information that you'd have to be ignoring. Again, I'm having to run quad slowdown. I'm putting in a ton of time into actually trying to get this to fucking work. And I'm still kind of getting ran here. Like, let's be completely honest with ourselves. I'm still in trouble here because there's just so many pallets, and at the end of the day, you're just a fucking M1 killer. You know, so like there's still a lot at play here that's going into this me winning against the survivors, quote unquote. There's still a lot that has to happen. And also, again, the fucking Aurelia gave up on second Hook for some goddamn reason. Like, she immediately put her team into a bad position. Like, that's not Gucci. You know, and like here, I have to make a decision. Do I go back over there and reset these traps, or do I come check out this DMS that went off, right? There's just so much that goes into all of this, and I just don't think that even if I win this game with a fucking 4K, I don't think this disproves me, right? And some people are going to be like, copium, right? And, you know, again, maybe they're right. Maybe it is copium. But in my opinion, too much stuff is going in my favor, right? One of the survivors gave up on Hook. The survivors aren't really paying attention to where they know traps are located. I'm having to run 4 slowdowns. This just kind of proves that in reality, if Trapper was able to spawn, honestly, you know what this proves more than anything? Trapper spawning with all of his traps would just put him on the same level as, like, Legion. I wouldn't say Legion. Probably like Pig, right? Probably like Pig, because I'm trying to figure out the best way to put this to where I don't sound like I'm just fucking huffing copium, but realistically speaking, if Trapper could spawn with all of his traps, and we gave him trap refresh, the most he'd probably end up in is the B tier. Right? At the highest capacity you could put him is the B tier. And like, I'm not even talking about like mid B, like we're talking like low B tier. And if that's what you're worried about, right? If you're worried about a killer becoming low B tier status, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? I don't know what to tell you there. I don't know how to respond to you at that point. Like, at that point, the argument isn't worth having, right? At that point, the argument isn't worth having. He would legitimately just end up, what the why did that What stopped me from picking her up? Hello? Behavior? Hello? Knock, knock? Anyway. And I know somebody's probably going to bring up when Behavior was like, actually, we think the Trapper's in a good spot, and we really want to keep him simplistic. Listen to me, man. There is no fucking reality. No reality at all where Trapper is simplistic. Like, sure, on the surface he is, right? Put down trap stop survivor from going certain place. Trap good, right? But in reality, Trapper is one of the most macro intense killers in the entire game. Like, you have to understand everything about this game in order to play Trapper properly. Like, at his current state, right? You have to understand gen patrolling, you have to understand survivor spawns, you have to understand how survivors loop, you have to understand how certain maps work, you have to understand so much shit in order to play Trapper correctly, that whole keep him simple is just simply bullshit. But yeah, this was just like a little one-off experiment. I would love to do like a big 50 game experiment type thing, but I only have like 17 of these damn things left. But maybe in the future I'll get Trapper to like prestige 50. And then like do like 100 game experiment of spawning in with Trapper sacks. Or if there are some Trapper mains out there, I know Pally watches my videos. Pally, if you got like a shitload of Trapper sacks, I'd love to see you run this experiment for like 50 or 60 games or something like that, where you just run Trapper sack and then see how you perform throughout those games. Just to see if this would actually be a problematic buff, or if I'm correct. But hey, you know what? I want to know what you guys think in the comments. And to all of the survivors who played in this game, GG's to you guys. Obviously, I'm not showing the names because I don't do that anymore. And yeah, love you guys so much. As always, a great big special thank you to my channel members listed on screen now. You want to find out how to become a channel member today, get awesome perks like seeing videos early, versus scout codes, and more, then please click that join button down below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one.